Ladies and gentlemen, this is the 12th and final round.
Right hand, Golovkin steps in and down he goes again. Unbelievable. Mayweather makes him pay. What a rookie mistake. A sensational left hook by De La Hoya.
It's facts. I'm the best. You know what I mean? Sometimes I don't want to believe it myself, but it's the truth. I'm the best. I'm going to show you how great I am.
From Southern California, this is the Last Round Podcast.
Welcome back to another edition of the Last Round Boxing Podcast. This week we have a special guest. Mike and I haven't had a guest interview together in a while. We've done individual interviews because of our schedules conflicts the last few months. So this is the first time we've had a guest together in a while here. He's the undefeated super lightweight, 17-0 with 15 KOs. Cain Sandoval joins the last round this week. Thank you for joining us, Cain.
Thank you for having me, man.
So for people who are listening to this, for example, we have a pretty prominent listening audience in the UK. I give credit to Mike because he's English, so he brings those fans over here. So for listeners, for example, in the UK right now who might be listening to this, if they asked, oh, who is Cain Sandoval right now, what would you say?
I say he's probably one of the best fighters in the world. A super lightweight, 15 in the world, and every time he fights, he just puts on a show.
What's your earliest memory of boxing? Because right now you just turned 23 in August,
yeah, I just
right?
turned 23, yeah.
What's your earliest memory in boxing? Like, was your family into it? Did you have siblings or family members in it or friends? How'd you get into it?
So all my cousins. So I come from a family. My dad used to box back in Mexico. My uncle, my auntie, everybody used to box back in Mexico. On my dad's side. Then my mom's side, all of my cousins here in the United States, all my cousins used to box. So when I was little, I always grew up around boxing. My dad used to order the pay-per-view fights and stuff, have barbecues and stuff, have kickbacks. And then my older brother got into it, and I just followed right behind him. I started boxing when I was 5. So ever since then, started fighting when I was 7. And nobody ever forced me to go to the gym, It was always me. I always wanted to go.
Did any of them have the talent like you, Cain, but they didn't, leave the amateurs or turn pro?
Yeah, that's the thing. And I'm the only one that went pro. I'm the only one that kept going. Everybody over throughout the years just started doing their own thing. I'm the one that stayed in the gym.
The most talented?
Yeah, for sure, definitely.
Is there anybody in your family or maybe close friends that you think if they had the discipline or dedicated themselves like you have to this point, they probably could have been at where you're at right now, or at least kind of been pro?
Of course, yeah. But, life happens. Things happen in life that some can't bounce back from. So, but I stay focused regardless of what happened in my personal life, regardless of what happened back home, in school, whatever. I always just stayed in the gym.
What's the earliest memory that you have of watching boxing? Who was that fighter that you remember as a kid? Oh, that's the earliest memory I have.
I don't know. I think it's a fight between Morales and Pacquiao, or Morales. I know it was a Morales fight. But growing up, I remember when Pacquiao fought De La Hoya, when Pacquiao knocked out Hatton. I was probably 6. Yeah. So I remember watching all those fights. But my earliest memory from myself, my personal, is when I was around 5 or 6. I remember I was in kinder or first grade. And they were like, oh, we're going sparring. And I'm like, oh, let me go. Just to watch. And I went in my school uniform, white polo, the blue jeans. I went and I ended up sparring and I got my ass whooped. I started bleeding and everything. And I'm like, fuck. But I liked it. I mean, I cried, those sniffles, but because I was just the adrenaline was just so much. But that's probably my earliest memory of actually being in the ring. Is my first sparring 5 years old when I was all just snotty, bloody, but I liked it. Obviously, because I'm fucking still doing it. But yeah.
So, what would you say? Because as a child like that, 5 years old, when you get hit like that, especially if you you're sparring somebody. And like you said, like, it gave you the sniffles, probably, a little bit of watery eyes. Like I know it's hard to kind of think about like your mentality at that point, but there's a lot of children who at that point were like, man, I'm not going to do this. I'm going to go play or something like that. Like what caused you to keep returning back into the sport?
I don't know. That's weird. I just love it, man. It's just a part of me. It's like I've been boxing my whole life. It's all I know. Whether I was doing, I was in school, or I was working, I always went back to the gym. I always was in the gym. So I just feel like it's a part of me.
From watching some of your previous interviews, Cain, I saw that you started boxing around 5, sparred around 6, started competing at 7, but you technically shouldn't have done, but you didn't submit your birth certificate.
Yeah. Back then, now it's all fucking, you got to put all that shit. But back then, they didn't care. So I wanted to fight so bad, and my coach at the time was like, I'll just do this. And and then it got to a point where like I was fighting guys that were older. I was like 9 years old fighting 13-year-olds, 8 years old fighting 11-year-olds, which in today's age is like not allowed at all. But I just wanted to fight.
So how was that for them when they found out that you were 3 or 4 years younger?
Oh, like and one of the nationals I went to, it was a NorCal team, Northern California. We went to Kansas City, and the dude was all like, "Oh, wait, what class are you in?" And I'm like, "Oh, I'm 119." And he was all like, "Elite is 18 and up, right?" He's like, "There's no 119 in elite." I'm like, "Oh yeah, because I'm a junior. I'm 14 years old. He's 18." He's like, "Well, how the fuck did we fight then?" I'm like, "I don't even know, bro." That shit was crazy.
Like, was there ever a moment when you got into a ring with an older fighter like that, and you were just like, damn, like what am I doing? This guy's huge.
I mean, we were both same weight class, but the power was definitely different. When I fought somebody my age, I just ran through them like nothing. When I fought somebody older, I'm like, oh, they're 115, they're probably 90 pounds, but they're way older. Like they hit harder. Yeah, but I mean, I feel like it made me the fighter I am today because I'm not scared of nobody. I'm not scared to spar anybody. So I feel like it worked out in the long run.
Who would you say your favorite fighter was growing up as a kid?
Growing up as a kid, favorite fighters, Salvador Sanchez. Like technical wise, Salvador Sanchez, Julio Cesar Chavez. But like I also like the ones that made the show. Like I used to study Prince Nassim.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yes.
I used to like before he got beat by Maidana. I was so adamant that he was gonna beat Maidana, bro. Adrian Broner, man. I was just watching it. I'm like, oh, he's the next. He's next up, man. He's next. And it's just him, Hector Camacho, Jorge Paez. Like I just like fighters that do make a show, but also deliver with the fights.
Do you see any of your style in them?
For sure, definitely.
Taken from it.
I try to. The thing is, like, we're athletes. Yeah, we're combat athletes. We're boxers at the end of the day. But at the end of the day, also, we're here to put on a show too. Got to entertain the people. Can't just, I feel like it's part of it. And we're in the sports business, but we're also in the entertainment business.
Who would you say would stand out of all those fighters you just mentioned? Because you mentioned the ones with like personality, but they could also be successful in the ring. Because they're, I'm sure as a fighter, there's fighters out there over the years who they've had personality, but then when they reach a certain level, it doesn't pan out, unfortunately for them. But there's some fighters like the ones you mentioned where they've been able to make a career out of having the personality, but also having the talent to back up that personality. Out of those fighters you mentioned, which one stands out in your mind? Like, oh, okay, like that one in that era when I was growing up, that Prince Nassim or Broner or any of those guys. Which one stands out in your mind at the top?
At the top for me, honestly, is Adrian Broner. That 4-time division champion in 4 different weight classes. It's just like I always say, like to the youngins, like you stay in the gym, man. Like regardless, like yeah, you could celebrate your win, go party and stuff, but you have to stay in the gym. You have to stay locked in because that's what got you there,
Have you ever met him?
No, I didn't. I haven't met him, but I'd love to.
If you
He's
met him,
for sure one of my favorite fighters.
if you met him like tomorrow, like what would the conversation like? What would you want to ask him?
Like what kept you motivated? What kept you? Because I know it's hard, man. It's hard. Like, us fighters, we go through a lot of mental stuff. Like, because I know there was times where people doubted him when he was like, probably popped up on social media. He's in another controversy. Popped up. He's on another scandal and stuff. How do you stay grounded with that? Like, I'll probably ask him about that and just tell him how big of a fan I am. Because like growing up, like 4 times I've seen him. I fights with Ponce de Leon. His fights with Paulie Malignaggi. Like I watch all those fights like live. So yeah, I'll probably be like tell him that I appreciate the motivation.
What was the first fight that you remember attending in person?
In person, man, it was I don't even remember. It was like this club show in Sacramento. But like I went to a lot of amateur fights before I even had my first fight. I went to a lot of because my cousins fought, my brother fought. I just went and I loved the environment, like the competitiveness. I also to this day I love going to the amateur shows. Just seeing the talent that's there. Like just last Saturday I went to my local gym to support one of my homeboys I was fighting, and he got a knockout first round, like first 30 seconds, knocked the guy out. I just love going through there because like I just love going there, and people they receive me, with love, ask for pictures and stuff. So I like going to the amateur shows to this day.
In Sacramento, because I don't think there's too many fighters right now, at least at the stature that you're at, undefeated, 17-0, fighting on UFC Fight Pass like you have, 360 and all that. Is there any fighters from Sacramento right now that are at the level that you're at?
Respectfully, no.
I don't think there is. Yeah, because we were talking about it. We were talking about it earlier today, and I was like, I don't think. And obviously, like if there is, and we're forgetting the name, we apologize. But like, I think you might be the most at the moment, at least, like the most accomplished fighter, if I can use that term, at the moment in pro boxing from that area. I mean,
yeah, definitely.
Right?
I feel like I've been for a while. It's like I take it as humble as I can. My goal is to bring back a world title back to my hometown, bring back boxing because we have a beautiful arena in downtown called the Golden One Center. I'd love to fight there. Probably sell that out soon, but
where the Kings play.
Yeah, where the Kings play.
So would that be? I mean, obviously, like it'd be a homecoming fight. Would that be like, as opposed to like the big ones like Madison Square Garden or Wembley Stadium in the UK or Staples Center or Crypto, whatever they call it now? Like, would you want like if you had your choice, like in like next year or something, like you could sell it out, you would want to go to Sacramento at the Golden One?
Definitely. That's probably what would have been. Well, back then when I was little, it was always Arco Arena. That was before they made a stadium. But now it's like they have the Golden One. But that's like one of my goals, one of my dreams to do it. But with timing, I feel like because I already fought Madison Square Garden, so with timing, it's gonna happen.
So you've said in past interviews and other articles that we've read about growing up in Sacramento and. That you grew up around some unfortunate circumstances at times in your environment and all that. How did would you say that the gym and boxing kind of took you away from those circumstances and put you on the pathway?
For sure. Because it opened my eyes when I went to nationals. Like when I did all that, went to nationals, I got a ranking. I came back and I'm like, man, like there's so much more than just Sacramento, man. All this bullshit here. So that really put it in perspective. I was like, 13, 14?
I saw you said in an interview, Cain, and maybe you can go into it, maybe you don't want to, about how, traveling to the Nationals was kind of expensive. So you kind of had to turn to the street, shall we say, to try to make some money to be able to travel.
Yeah, I mean, one had to do what he had to do, make some shake. But man, proud of it. But I had to do what I had to do to make it to the nationals. But at the end of the day, I feel like I learned from it and made me the person I am. And at the end of the day, I did it to put my career, elevate my career. I didn't do it to harm myself or anybody, but if you put somebody in a circumstance that I'm always find a way.
Who gave you or did you give it to yourself? Your nickname, Sugar.
It was out of a whim, low key, because they asked me, they're like, "Hey, when I find Master Sugar Guardian, they're like, you got a nickname?" And I was just like, "Nah, I don't." They're like, they looked at me in a way, and I'm like, "Oh shit." I was like, well, I need something that has a ring to it, because they're all like Hurricane. I'm like, Hurricane makes no fucking sense. I'm not from fucking Florida or like them hurricane states and shit. So I'm like, Hurricane. I was like, no, hell no. So I was like, you know what, like, it's time to show the world what I really am, like my personality stuff. So I was like, Sugar Cane sounds good, and I put Sugar Cane.
Sugar Ray Leonard.
Yeah, now you got the Sugar Ray Leonard, you got Sugar Robinson's. Like, I'm right there with him, Sugar Shane Mosley. But mostly, I was looking up more to like Sugar Ray Leonard, because he's the flashy, the hand speed, the mic skills. Like, I'm ready for all that.
Do you remember any of the other nicknames that kind of went through your mind before you settled on Sugar?
Hurricane.
Yeah, you said that one. Sugar.
Yes, when I was little, because I used to always, my fighting style back then I was always just throw and nonstop throwing. They'll call me Insane Cane. But that one crossed my mind. I was like, hell no. Yeah, I always throw.
Did you ask like family members or like close friends, like, hey, what would you guys think? And were they just kind of like making fun of you and stuff like, oh, you should call yourself this?
Nah. I just went with Sugar, and everybody kind of just clicked. And that's why everybody calls me. Like, when I went to the show on Saturday, all I heard was Sugar Cane. I was, oh shit. Yeah.
Was that the first time that, what you just mentioned, how you went to the show on Saturday and that, people were calling you Sugar Cane? Like, was that the first time since you kind of taken that nickname where you've it's hitting, like you've kind of noticed like, oh, that nickname worked?
Nah, I noticed it after my first fight with Freddie. That's when it actually, like, people started calling me off of that. So
obviously we were getting to that point, but as if our listeners don't know, you train at Wildcard Gym in Hollywood, California under Freddie Roach. How did you come to start training with somebody as legendary and as accomplished as Freddie Roach?
So when I got signed to 360, I wasn't training with Freddie, but he told me himself, like, I like the way you fight. Like, keep doing what you're doing. Because my first fight with 360, I got a 5th round knockout, I think. And my manager, Oscar Sanchez, he told me, like, hey, Freddie Roach would like to train you. So, we just did what we did, and now we're here.
What do you remember about that first training session with Freddie Roach?
I was like kind of nervous in a way, not nervous, but anxious. But it was more like I was learning along the way. I'm not gonna say like, oh, it's like, it feels like I was starting boxing all over again. But I was like, all right, like in my head, I kept telling myself, I'm a sponge, I just gotta soak everything in. I just gotta listen, like, So that's what I did.
Had you been to Wildcard before, Cain?
I had to spar. Just to spar people, whoever was available there. I went to spar, and it was just work. It was nothing happened really.
What is it that makes Freddie such a good coach?
It's different, man. He has so much knowledge, so much just so much game. He knows this boxing game so much, and he's calm about it too. He's not like, oh, like, I know all this, I know that. Nah, like he'll tell me like this fight. Not one time. I did get caught like about one. Like, I got caught once, and I came back to the corner. Nobody freaked out. It was just cool. I didn't freak out because my corner didn't freak out. I was cool, calm, collected. And you see the end result. I got a knockout in the 10th round.
So do you now live in LA or do you just travel down for camp?
For camps, but I'm planning on moving down soon.
For Freddie Roach, you mentioned right there, because there's a lot of professional fighters who deal with that during professional fights, where you said that, sometimes you encounter a shot or something like that. You're like, oh, they caught me on that. And you went back to the corner, and like you said, your corner, Freddie Roach, nobody freaked out. The energy kind of stays very calm. So it kind of transferred to you in terms of like, oh, okay, my coach and my team, everybody's cool, even though like my opponent got a hit on me, but it worked out for me. How important do you think that is for like if you grew up to be a trainer, 20, 30 years from now and all that? Is that something how you would want to train a younger fighter? Is like, hey, if they had a bad round and they come back, would you want to kind of stay level-headed with them like that?
Yeah, I feel like that's key. That's key to because like me and Freddie, me and my team, we did the hard work in the gym. There was no doubt that I was in shape, that I was ready for the fight. But we also knew my opponent was a power puncher. So like the whole training camp, we knew like what the guy brought to the table. So like having the understanding as a team, I feel is what helped me. Because if we didn't, we probably would, you never know, probably would have freaked out. Probably would have got caught with a shot again. Probably would have got dropped, But, stayed composed. Everybody in the corner stayed composed. My whole team did. And we did what we did. We won.
And then it was a 10th round KO, right? Up in San Ynez, just past Santa Barbara at the Chumash Casino. Was this your first fight under Freddie Roach?
This is my third fight.
Third fight. What do you remember about the first fight that you had as a partnership with him?
It was kind of hard because I was coming back from a big layoff. And new trainer, new training camp, new city. It was my first camp in LA. And I was just it was kind of to prove myself that I'm back in the game. I don't know if you watched the fight, but after I knocked the guy out, I just broke down in tears because I was like, damn, I'm back. Like, like I never thought I'd be back.
What did, after that first win with Freddie Roach, what do you remember him? Like, were you able to have like a private conversation with him, just you and him after the fight? Kind of like, what do you remember him telling you? Like, hey, we got the win. Let's keep going. Like, is there anything that kind of stuck with you?
Yeah. When I told him like, oh, I'm going back, back home to Sacramento. I'm gonna, just take a little time off and then come back. He's like, all right. He's like, I'll see you soon. And then and I came back. He was all like, oh, you're back. He's like, when you fight again? I was like, oh, I don't know. I'm just saying this date. And he was like, oh, all right. He's like, when you spar, like, he was just ready. We were just ready fucking to start training me again. And I was like, and that's what I like. I'll never been outside the gym more than a couple months, I feel that's what keeps me grounded. The activity. This year I fought 3 times a year. But next year we're probably going to fight, you never know, probably 4. So we'll see what the future holds. I feel like if I stay in the gym, everything's going to be okay.
Does the future hold Zuffa boxing?
Yeah, we're talking about that, man. It's exciting to know that something new is coming back into boxing. That's how I take it. People be talking negative about it, but I'm excited for the future. I trust my manager, Oscar Sanchez, my promoter, Tom Loeffler. I feel like I'm in good hands. I'm 15 in the world and under 20 fights, so I think I'm in good hands.
Was there any other promoters that you had any conversation with, or they approached you before you decided to go with 360 and Tom Loeffler?
Not that I know of. I gotta ask my manager that.
Why were you able to speak, or was it just your manager who spoke to Tom Loeffler and his team? Like, did you have a conversation, you as the fighter, with Tom Loeffler before officially signing with him and his promotion?
Yeah, for sure. Definitely, I did. He was telling me how at the time I had a 100% KO ratio. and he decided to sign me, and he's big things happening for me. So it was good to have a conversation with Tom.
How would you describe Tom Loeffler? You're fighting under his promotional banner. You fought on a couple cards now under the 316 promotional banner. How would you describe? Because Tom's a very accomplished promoter. He's a very accomplished manager in the game. He's with the Klitschko brothers, obviously Triple G, Gennady Golovkin. But you, as a young fighter, just signed to his team. How would you describe him as a promoter?
Tom, he's calm, cool, collective, and about his business, man. That's how I see him. Because every time I talk to him, he's just, "How you doing, Cain?" I'm like, "I'm good." He's like, "That's good." It's just like, he's just, like I said, he's about his business.
I want to rewind a little bit if I can, Cain. Just tell us about the big decision you had to make about either waiting for the 2024 Olympics or turning pro.
Oh man, that was a time of my life because it was like before COVID. So I just fought the USA Nationals 2019. I lost, I think, the quarterfinals, and I'm like, oh man, fuck, like, see that I waited 2024 Olympics or I turned pro. And then my girlfriend at the time, I was 17. She told me she was pregnant, and I'm like, fuck, I gotta work, and I was like, I gotta turn pro. Like, I can't be an amateur. So, and plus I already had a bunch of amateur fights, sparred with pros. So I did that move. And I could have turned pro 2020 because everything was fucked up. So 2021, I made the decision to turn pro at 19 years old. And the rest is history. And
you were actually pro, but you were still working in a lumberyard, right?
Yeah, I was working at a lumberyard, man. I'll knock a guy out on Wednesday and be back on the clock Thursday. Knock a guy out fucking Friday night and then work in the morning. It's crazy, but I feel like that's what made me who I am today. Like, just the work continues. Life goes on after a hard fight. Obviously, if I fight all 10 rounds, I'm gonna fucking work the next day. But I fought. When did I fight? Friday. I fought Friday, and I was back in the gym on Monday.
It was kind of like you getting your strength and conditioning in whilst you're at work, I bet.
Yeah. No, literally, because damn, just thinking about the lumberyard. It's crazy.
So how was it for you having to work, turn pro, but then obviously when you're fighting at that level, you're still probably selling tickets to get your name on the show?
Yeah, I was. I fought in the Bay Area. I fought in Sacramento. I fought in Orange County. I had to sell tickets, But every time I fought in Sacramento, it's probably the easiest because I just sold 200 tickets like nothing. But that's what I'm saying. Like, back to the conversation with the Golden One, I feel like down the line, I'm 23. Like, I think it's gonna happen that I'm gonna sell out the Golden One Center anytime soon.
Is there anybody right now, Cain, that in the future you could see, in and around your weight class, you're just like, oh, I think that'd be a fun fight between me and him in the future, and I could do some big money and a great fight with that guy in the future.
Anybody in the top 10, growing up, obviously I watched a lot of fighters, like, for example, Arnold Barbosa. We got some rounds in sparring, but I'm in the top 15 now. Like, I feel like that'd be a good fight for me at 140. Jose Ramirez, that's another one. I feel like I watched growing up, and now that I'm in top 15, let's get it on. I'm ready for all the big names in the top 15, top 20. I'm ready for all that.
When going back to the wild card, because I think you worked with Manny Pacquiao in the past?
Work like sparred?
Yeah, or just like you've been a part of his training camp.
I was there when he was training. I wasn't training with him, but I was just there, just watching, just soaking it all in, just watching him train.
Right. So you were there. That's why I didn't say sparring, because I was like, I don't think you sparred him, but you were present to be able to at least observe. What do you remember about watching somebody like Manny Pacquiao during that time? You're creating your pathway right now, but then seeing somebody like him in front of you, watching him train.
It was surreal, man. Like, we're just watching him stretch, like in the ring. I'm just staring at him. I'm staring at bro, and I'm just like, is anybody watching this shit? Like, am I the only one that's like starstruck right now? And I was just like, damn. Like, I was just hella quiet. Somebody, one of my teammates noticed. One of the coaches noticed. I think Marvin did. He's like,
Samudio.
You okay? And Marvin Samudio, he noticed, and he's like, You okay, Cain? I'm like, man, what the fuck? Like, bro's Manny Pacquiao right in front of me, working out. And I was like, just watching him grow up. Well, I mean, me growing up, watching him fight, watching him train, watching the 24/7 episodes, and then seeing him train right in front of me is surreal. It's just, for a minute, I did get starstruck, but just seeing greatness in front of you, seeing legendary shit going on right in front of you it's a different type of feeling, man. It's a different type of motivation, too.
And the size of his calves.
Oh, yeah, that too. Shit, I was like, what the fuck? That's insane.
Yeah, he's got some big calves, man.
Yeah.
You know, and they look even more like bigger because he's like, you know, a smaller guy. So his legs are just like, they're like tree trunks. So, and it's one thing, I mean, obviously, Cain can speak to it because he was there. I mean, we've been in front of him as well at his training camps as well. And it's one thing to see him on TV, but when you see him in person, it's totally different. Like, man, it's not just a TV like that. He has tree trunks for legs, man. Like the guy, he definitely trains hard. Would you say that? Is there any other fighters that you've been essentially kind of starstruck a little bit besides Manny Pacquiao to meet? Or
not
to
really. I feel like that's the first time I actually like really felt that feeling. Like I was speechless. Like what? Like that's crazy.
Obviously, there's a weight difference, Cain. But would you like to do a few rounds with Manny?
Oh, for sure. I'm ready for all that. I wouldn't deny it at all. But we'll see. I heard he has a fight in January, so and I won't be down in the same time as him in camp. So we'll see if I could get some rounds because I would love that. I would love that.
Who are some names that you've sparred so far in your career, Cain, that you know people wouldn't be aware that you've been a sparring partner for at one point or another?
I sparred Devin Haney before. Who else? Oh, Arnold Barbosa. Petros Anian. He beat Subriel Matias. Who else? Damn. Mean Machine. That was a good one. That was a good ass sparring session.
Who got the best of who?
It was good work. That's all I'm gonna say, man. It was good ass work. I loved it. Yeah, I sparred. Man, I could just start name dropping, but it's all good.
Well, I mean, like Callum Walsh.
But Callum, Elvis Rodriguez. Yeah, it's my teammates really. Like Raul Curiel.
Did you get any rounds in with Mario Lopez? I know he's a regular down wildcard.
Nah. Raymond Morotaya, Brandon Lee. Like, yeah, I sparred a couple of guys.
What would you say, Cain? Sparring all these different fighters from, different parts of the world, different cultures. Like Mean Machine, Eastern Europeans, Latinos, Mexicans, all that stuff, Americans, and all that. Who out of all those cultures, who would you say is like? I mean, they can all fight, obviously. They're all good fighters. They wouldn't be pro if they weren't good fighters. But, which one sticks out in your mind? Because, people talk about, like, the Eastern European fighters, like the Klitschko brothers, Gennady Golovkin over the years, and, Usyk and all that, Lomachenko. They've had a lot of success in producing fighters from over there. I mean, would you agree in sparring guys from that region like that?
Oh, for sure. I'm down to spar whatever. Like, I think that's when people be like, oh, no, like, that style doesn't fit your style. Don't spar him. Like, how are you going to be a complete fighter if you're not going to spar a certain style? That makes no sense to me. But to answer your question, I think, like, Hispanics, like Latinos, like, man, they're the ones that don't back up. They're the ones that know boxing, in my opinion. But, like, also Eastern Europeans, like, it's different styles, man. That's why I love boxing so much. Like, when I spar people from other countries, I mean, like, they ain't throw that jab weird as fuck, but it's working for you. Well, I'm like, damn, like, you move your head. You move your footwork is so unorthodox. It's like you have two left feet, but it works.
Yeah.
It's fucking insane. And it's like, That's why I like sparring for. That's why I like wildcard. That's why I love wildcard because you spar people from all over the world, and that's what I need. And it's not even like it's world class sparring too. So I love it.
What other gyms in Southern California have you visited to, like, spar or get some work in like that? Besides Wildcard, obviously.
When I was in my old training, before I was with Freddie, I used to go to Robert Garcia's gym and spar and stuff. And I used to go I used to go some days I used to go to Wildcard and some days I go to Robert Garcia's and just get good work. Because at the time, even today, at the time, nobody wanted to spar me in SAC. Like, I had no sparring, like quality sparring, like respectfully, there was no good work out here. But so my coach at the time, we made the trip down to SoCal and got work all over. But now that I'm at Wildcard, every day, every sparring day, you never know who you're gonna spar. So, but if you have a certain opponent, you're gonna like fight like a southpaw. Like obviously, you're gonna want to spar a southpaw, right? But if you're just there, you have no style to fight on, to like what I'm saying, like to steady on, and you want sparring, man, you could find whatever there. World class too.
Cain, we've touched on it a couple of times, but just explain to us, how was it walking out for your fight at Madison Square Gardens?
It was so the guy I fought, his fan base was on my DMs talking about how I was gonna lose and knock out, this and that. And before he walked out first, and I seen like through the curtain that he was like dancing. Like he got in the ring and started dancing, like a little bachata, whatever shit. And I'm like, what the fuck? This guy's really dancing on me? Hell no. I don't even see the walkout come out hella serious face. I don't even do a flurry. I just walk straight out. And it was kind of like a lock-in moment. It was like I either take all this in, and then be like, oh, like the crowd and shit, like the fucking they have like the pattern on the ceiling. Like, like take it all in, or I was like, man, fuck that. I'm gonna lock in. I'm gonna lock this guy out. And that's what I did.
Do you have any superstitions or anything you have to stick to, like on fight week or fight night?
No. I just pray.
So you've never been a superstitious guy in boxing?
No,
there's some people like, I have to wear this before, I have to do this before, I have to eat this meal before, I have to like go here before. Like you're not like that?
No. I believe in hard work. I don't leave anything by chance. If something happens, I feel like it was supposed to happen,
What's something that you've learned, because obviously you already had quite a few wins under your belt and had been pro for a little bit before getting to Freddie Roach and a couple fights ago. But since getting with him these last couple fights, what's something that you've learned from him that you didn't necessarily know or learn prior to him?
I think patience. I feel like I'm more patient, not just in the boxing ring, but also in life, But I feel like back then, like if you compare my fights to the fights I had with Javier Molina and the fights I had with my recent fight, you see the patience, you see the maturity, and I'm just grateful, grateful that I have a team like Freddie, Pepe, Eddie, just a whole team, wildcard team, that they know what to do with me, Like, I feel like back then I was just going off instinct, going off whatever. Like, I'm gonna knock this guy out. I have to knock this guy out. Like having a 100% KO ratio, or like 90-something% KO ratio. Like, oh, I gotta keep this alive. I gotta knock this guy out. But now that I have I have a solid team behind me that had world champions before, multi-division champions, I just feel like I'm in good hands.
What did you think about the Terrence Crawford's win last month against Canelo Alvarez?
I just a beautiful performance. I feel like it was a good fight. I enjoyed the fight. It was a good fight in my opinion. I had it 115-113 for Crawford. I just think Canelo didn't make the adjustments. Terrence did. Terrence made the adjustments. Boxed a beautiful fight, and we seen 3-time undisputed, man. Like, damn, greatness. Like, I just love. I was like, man. I was sitting at my manager's house. I was just like, man, I love boxing because, like, look at this. Oh my god, like, that's crazy.
Now, we talked about earlier that you would fight older kids when you were younger, 3-4 years older than you and all that. And then there was one time where you fought like an 18-year-old and he asked, like, well, how old are you? You're like, I'm 14. Like, what the hell? In a way, it's not that, Terrence Crawford fought somebody like it's an age thing, but he went up multiple weight classes. And that's what people were like, oh, he's fighting a bigger guy, and he's not fighting just a bigger guy in a bigger weight class. He's fighting one of the best fighters in the world in that weight class. Would you be open to that? I mean, I know it's early. You still have your whole career ahead of you, and you're like undefeated at 17-0. But if there's ever a point in the future, as you continue on your pathway to hopefully a world championship, if there's ever an opportunity like that, where like, hey, there's this fighter is 3 weight classes above, but we think you can take him and kind of get a shot at the world title. Do you think you could consider doing something like that?
I mean, for sure. Shit. I think I would do something like that. But also at the same time, Crawford's getting paid like what, $50 million.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, consider it if it makes sense.
Do you think you will go up and down in the weights?
Definitely, yeah, for sure. I'm
How
young.
high do you think?
Excuse me?
How high? Like what weight class do you think you would peak at?
We'll see. We'll see down in the future. Right now I'm campaigning at 140, but we'll see down in the future what the future holds. I feel like I'm still young. I'm still growing into my man body and stuff. So 47, possibly like at the end of my career, 54. Because, I'm 5'8". I'm not that fucking tall either. So, but we'll see what the future holds. I'm like I said, I trust in my manager and my promoter. So we'll see.
Looking at the 140 division, we have IBF, Richardson Hitchens, WBC, Subriel Mateus, WBO, Teofimo Lopez, WBA, Gary Antoine Russell. Stylistically, which one would you like the most?
Richard Hitchinson. Is Matias champion, right?
Yeah, WBC.
Yeah, probably Matias. I feel like that'd be a good fight for me.
I agree. I think that would be stylistically a good matchup.
Cain, what do you think about you're under the 360 banner now, and obviously Tom Loeffler and 360 have a relationship with Dana White, UFC Fight Pass, and all that. There's been a partnership there for a while. But you, as a professional fighter, like being in that ring, who would be affected by something like this, what do you think about the potential news of the major sanctioning body belts, WBC, WBA, WBO, IBF, kind of, I don't want to say going away, but like, for example, Zuffa Boxing, Dana White has said that he wants to make his own belts. You as a fighter, how do you look at something like that? Like, what's your reaction?
I'm just excited for the future. I just know I'm gonna leave a print in the boxing world, regardless of what happens. I'm gonna leave legacy. Like, I'm gonna leave that with hard work, anything could be possible. That's my main goal. Like, people be like, "Oh, I want to be undisputed. I want to make as much money." Man, if I could take a kid off the street and inspire him to go to the gym, that's enough for me, man.
When did you know you were good at this? When you knew, like, oh, I'm pretty good at this. I know I can keep going pretty far. Like, when did you kind of hit that level?
After my first national, I fought my first national was 14. I went to Kansas City and I fought this guy from Texas, and I knocked him out in the first round with a body shot. I'm like, oh shit! So that happened. Next day I fought 17 something, like 15-time national champ, Jeremy Adorno.
Oh, he's a pro, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Puerto
And
Rican.
lost a split decision. And then they're like, people are like, and you know, you just like, I lost, but you know, you just fought. I'm like, no. And they're like, oh, bro, he's like number 1, number 2. Like, damn, bro, like you were like right there with him. And I was like, oh shit. And that's when I kind of realized, like, all right, like I'm there.
Do you think, Cain, that if you know information, like if you knew what his credentials were before going into a fight like that, would that have affected the way you fought? Like, because it seems like what you said right now, that you not knowing that, just going in like, hey, it's just another fight, I'm gonna do my thing, kind of made you a lot more disciplined and like probably gave you a lot more stamina and energy to compete.
I don't know. That's the thing. It's like I think that was meant to happen. Because imagine if I did hear that, I probably would be like, oh damn, bro, I'm like, might as well, like, you know. But because there's been times where like I've been told that, like, oh, you know, this guy's this and that, and I spar him, or then I spar or fight him, whatever, and I whoop his ass, and I'm like, oh, man, that ain't shit. But it's also like, if they didn't tell me, how would I perform? Like, would I have taken my serious if they haven't told me? I don't know. But I think that time was just perfect timing. You know, like, thank God nobody told me like that this guy was this and that national champ, because I probably would have froze. I just went in there like it was another fight, and I did what I did. I lost with decision, but you know, people are like, "Hey, man, like the guy you just fought, you know what he is, what he is." I'm like, "No." They're like, "Oh, he's this and that, man. You look good, man." I'm like, "Oh shit." I was like, "All right."
Cain, how do you feel as a fighter how do you balance the need to perform in front of a crowd? You know, let's just say, you know, it's a sold out crowd wherever you're fighting, you know, people there, you know, trying to watch some fights. How do you like, do you feel that need to perform in front of them, like to give the people an entertaining fight? Or are you just there just to kind of get your win, kind of be disciplined, and, you know, whatever happens, happens?
I owe the crowd a show, you know, and it just comes with me, you know. It comes with the sugar cane style. Like, I don't put on a show every single time. Like, and you're not gonna get no track star shit here. Like, you're not gonna get. If you're gonna get boxing. You know, you're gonna get hit and don't get hit. But I'll always put on a show. If I feel like I could close the show out, I could end the show early. That's what I'm gonna do. And people always ask me like, oh, like you know, amateurs be DMing me, and be like, how do you deal with the crowd, man? How do you do? I'm like, look, bro. You just, when that bell rings, everything is it's time to work, bro. But now, I think since I was little, I was always fighting in front of a bunch of people. I fought nationals in front of thousands of people. So once I hit the pro stage, no shirt, small gloves, I was ready for it. So I thank my amateur career for not having butterflies in my pro career. You know.
You had about 200 amateur fights, is that right, Cain?
Yeah, about. I'll fight every weekend. Which
one stands out in your mind out of all those 200s? Like, which one's like, oh, I'm never going to forget that one?
Probably I fought this guy. Nah. So there was this guy that I always used to fight in Reno. Like, always like rematch, you know, since like we were the only like boys in the weight class. And it was this one fight where like I felt like I won. Like, I was just on his ass, like landing heck of punches. And back then it was the counters. So I was like, oh, like perfect. I won this fight, man. And I lost. And I remember just like kind of crashing out. Like, I started crying. I was like, man, what the fuck? Like, bro, you always do this to me, this and that. Then my dad's like, nah, you can't do that. Like, you know, you got to chill out. Like, it comes with the sport. Like, don't, you know what I'm saying? Like, and I was like, all right, like, that moment was like, all right, like, it comes with the sport. Like, amateur is amateur, you know? And that's when, like, the losing kind of, like, didn't matter in a way. Because I knew amateur just experience.
You were just learning.
Yeah.
Okay, what was one of the things or the first thing you bought with your first big check? Probably when you came from 360 Promotions.
I bought. What did I buy with that shit? I always, take care of the fam and stuff. But damn, what did I buy? I think I bought a chain. Yeah,
Probably one of those flashy grills.
Those grills, man. That was my sponsor, Gold USA. I had gold ones at the time. After I got signed, I got gold ones. But it was like they sponsored me with that, so I appreciate Gold USA for that. Blessing me and stuff. I've been going since I was like 16, 17. But
the grills that you've been wearing are like the ones, for example, that I think you had a recent picture with Teofimo Lopez at Wild Card. Like you have grills on. Are those the ones you're talking about?
No, those are diamond grills. Back then, when I signed the 360, I had gold ones. Yeah. And then
these silver ones that you just had in like the photos. Those are brand new. Those are newer.
Yeah, those diamond grills.
Sweet.
Yeah, man.
When you met, so kind of going back to that photo, you met Teofimo Lopez. That was at Wild Card. What was that conversation like?
It was just cool. I was like, hey, what's good with Teo? He was like, man, I'm just chilling, man, watching y'all work out and shit. And I was like, oh, for sure. Like, when's the next fight? And he was just like, man, you'll see. And then I think like 2 weeks later, they announced the Times Square card. And I was like, oh shit, okay. That's what he was talking about. But I feel like he's always in shape. He's always ready, to fight. So I've been hearing that he might fight Shakur, right? That's what the whole conversation is.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've been mentioning it. But I mean, I think you as a pro, you've been around the sport enough to see, like, sometimes there's rumors and you think they're going to pan out and then they don't pan out. So so we hope that fight pans out, because I think that would be a fun fight. That would be a fun fight. But until it's like announced, like, okay, now it's real. So, so you mentioned staying in shape right now. So even if like you're inactive, you don't have a fight lined up, like your fight just ended, maybe take a break for a week or two, couple weeks, do you get back in the gym just in Sacramento just to kind of like stay in shape, or do you start working out closer to when you go back to training?
No, I'm staying in shape now. Back then, I used to like take a month off in shape, but now I'm back. I'm training and stuff, staying sharp, because I feel like boxing is a part of me, and I'm learning more about myself. Like, if I'm not in the gym, if I don't have a routine, like I need to have that. I need to stay in the gym. I probably, in my head, I'm like, man, I need to keep punching something every day. But yeah, I think that's what a real fighter does. Stays in the gym, and stays in the boxing gym and stuff.
Do you have a cheat meal?
A cheat meal? Oh, definitely. What the fuck?
Well, you never know. Some people say like, nah, man, I have a routine. My my food's always made. Like,
fight, nah, man. Look, it's a steak and some cheesecake, man. After the fight, then the next day we're going to In-N-Out, 4x4, animal style fry, soda. Not the diet one either, the full sugar one.
Oh, you go full sugar one, yeah.
It's like if you watch your diet for like 2 months, 8-week camp, 12-week camp, man, it starts getting to you, man. So
Cain, In-N-Out over Five Guys?
I never had Five Guys.
Oh.
I never had it, so I can't. Some people be like people say Arby's is trash, but never had Arby's. It's like, I hate when people do that. You know what I'm saying? It's like I can't say because I never had Five Guys, but as of right now, I feel In-N-Out any day.
What's your number 2 behind In-N-Out?
In-N-Out, I like sushi, man. Sushi, like Chinese food, like chow mein, motherfucking sushi, like just Chinese food, just Asian food.
Yeah.
What's kind of like your training camp diet typically? Like, what do you find yourself eating?
Clean protein, egg whites, Greek yogurt, protein shake, clean carbs, white rice, fruits, veg, like it's clean. Everything's clean. Water intake, like, gotta see how much sodium you're taking, vitamins you're taking. So imagine like 8-12 weeks of that every day, sparring and shit. And it's like you get a win, knockout win in my for me, knockout win. It's like, oh, I gotta celebrate somehow.
Right.
That's how I celebrate.
Fighting at Chumash Casino up there in San Ynez, just past Santa Barbara. What's your experience been fighting there? Because 360 started having events there before 360 and Tom Loeffler started going there. There wasn't too many publicized fights up there. But what's your experience been fighting at that casino?
I love it. It's a good crowd. It's an amazing crowd. I think I had my first fight there with Jose Marufo. And it was a good fight. I got a 6-round stoppage. And this past fight, it was electric. After I knocked the guy out, I just hit the crowd. I used to feel the energy. And after I went back to the locker room, changed and everything, went back out, and everybody was just taking pictures with me, saying it was a good fight. I like that. I like that Chumash crowd. It's a good crowd.
Do you think you're a prospect right now, or do you think you're just above that level?
I'm like in between. I'm a prospect, contender. It depends. It depends. I wouldn't be mad if somebody called me a prospect, but all I gotta say is like check the stats, man.
Like at what? I mean, you have 17 wins, like we mentioned a couple of times during this conversation so far. 17 wins, undefeated, 15 KOs. Like if you kind of just had to rough estimate a number, like at what win in your record so far, we're like, okay, I'm at this number of wins. Like I'm definitely not a prospect. Like I'm a contender.
Probably anything above 20, I think. Like if you're above 20-0 and you're still a prospect, bro, what the fuck are you doing?
Well, you're pretty close. You're almost there. I mean, and if you said like you mentioned, like you want to fight, you want to stay active, fight, 3 to 4 times a year, essentially. I mean, you're going to hit it sooner than you think, right?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, but at that time, I'm gonna probably be. You never know. I'm probably. I'm telling you, I got the right team behind me. The Oscar Sanchez, our manager, Tom Loeffler, my promoter. I've gotten good fights, good names under my belt. So I'm excited for the future.
If you had real quick, Mike, if Tom Loeffler and your team called you tomorrow and said, "Hey, we have a world title shot that they offered you," are you ready for that?
Oh, for sure, definitely. I don't think I haven't even unpacked my bags yet. I'll probably take off right now.
Go ahead, Mike.
Will you be attending the Matchroom card, December 13th up in Stockton?
I'll see what's up. If we'll see how I am. We'll see what I'm doing. But if I'm not doing anything, I'll probably be there.
I think there's a potential opponent on there for you, Ernesto Mercado.
Yeah. Yeah, we fought in the amateurs. We're both like on the road to the world title, on the road to fight one of the top guys.
SoCal v NorCal.
What happened?
Southern California against Northern California. If you guys meet in the pros,
yeah, sure, yeah, it's brewing. I think down the line we're gonna meet eventually. Obviously, if you have two young, explosive talents. I think me and him have like the same knockout ratio, maybe. I don't know. But if you have two, knockout artists, young, hungry, why fight them so early in their careers? I think, down the line we'll meet eventually. And it's going to be a great fight. I'm already knowing, I'm a real fighter. I'm already knowing how this game goes. So we'll eventually meet.
And then before we finish up here, Cain, do we have? I know you just fought. We know we were just talking about it, but is there any estimated time frame for next fight? Is it going to be sometime next year?
Possibly early next year. But gotta talk to my team, see what they come back with. And you'll see. You'll see them on my Instagram or on Twitter, the announcements. So. I'm excited for the future, man. It's going to be 2026. It's going to be probably my best year yet.
That sounds good. That sounds good. Mike, anything else?
No questions from me. Just we're at the last round 12 on Instagram and Twitter.
And then Cain, before we finish up here, go ahead and plug whatever you got, man. Anything you want to promote. Obviously, you fight for 360 promo under Tom Loeffler. You fight on UFC Fight Pass. But you want to promote your Instagram, Twitter, social media, any companies you got? Go ahead, man. The floor is yours.
Yeah, man. Hey, look, man. 360 Promotions on the rise. You feel me? Cain Sandoval, 17-0, 15 knockouts, 15 in the world. Youngest. I'm the youngest in the 15 in the world. You know, just follow my journey, man. I started from nothing, turning it into something. From the trenches, but I'm always representing. You know, I just want to give a shout out to my manager, Oscar Sanchez, my promoter, Tom Loeffler, my team, my wildcard, Freddie, Eddie, Pepe, Twin, Alex. Shout out my jeweler, Gold USA, and shout out the best tequila in the world, Tequila Mandala. So, and I appreciate you guys, man, for this interview, man.
Yeah, no problem. Let me end on this question. It's kind of a fun question because maybe a little bit foreshadowing a couple years from now or in the future in your career. You're fighting in a big stadium or a big arena, and you essentially have the profile to have somebody walk you out to sing you to the ring. Who would it be?
Probably Fuerza Regida. It's a Mexican.
I know it is.
Yeah. Probably
okay.
them.
Okay, so just remember that if that happens in the future in your career, or when it happens, let's just say when it happens. We'll say it into existence. You heard it here first, man. We're gonna replay this clip. Like, oh, he said it on our show back then, man. So just remember this first time you ever heard that, man. So
all right, for sure, man. Hell yeah.
Awesome. So as Mike mentioned, we're at the last round 12 on Instagram and Twitter. A big thanks to our guest this week at Cain Sandoval, who fights under the 360 Boxing Promotions banner with Tom Loeffler, and they currently broadcast their fights with UFC Fight Pass. And you never know, as we mentioned, and as Cain mentioned, Zuffa Boxing could be in his future, but obviously keep up with his journey on social media to see where he goes from there. So for our guest of the week in Cain Sandoval, the undefeated Cain Sandoval, 17-0 with 15 knockouts at super lightweight. For my co-host Michael Shepard, I'm Danny Z. This is The Last Round.
Thanks for supporting and listening to the show. Follow us at The Last Round 12 on social media. Rate, review, and subscribe. This is The Last Round Podcast.